Well, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Good evening. Welcome to Traders Around the World. Welcome to your North American Into the Open session here with me live until 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We've got an interesting market this morning, cross currents. NASDAQ is a drag. ES is trying to pick up the slack. The NASDAQ is winning out at this moment in time, continuing to drag things down. So let's go and take a quick look-see at how things are set up in the pre-market. So we've got three parts to our morning session over here. We have a pre-market intelligence briefing. We have live fire, live analytics, live trading. From 9:30 to 11, and then we have the lessons learned or a trade review and some Q&A from 11 to 11:30. So it's a power-packed morning. I'm glad to be here with you. I look forward to trading markets with you and navigating them as well. So let's go, go, go. Very good morning to everyone writing in. I see so many folks writing in right now that I'm not going to be able to respond to each one individually. All I'll say is a very good morning to you, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be watching from in this lovely world we get to frolic around in. Everything that I do and say here, folks, is for education and insight purposes only. It's not meant as advice. I am not a registered financial advisor or representative. You must consult yours before making any trading decisions. Trading involves risk, not just reward. Risk of loss. Trade with money you can wholly afford to lose. When I trade, it's always in line with my risk trading plan, which is unique to me and might not be suitable to you. Consult your registered financial advisor and get a risk trading plan. Whether I'm discussing past trades taken, doing live trades in front of you, coming up with plans and projections for future potential trades, whether I'm doing any of that with respect to a live cash account, demo account, and or a prop trading account, it's all done for education and insight purposes only. It's not meant as advice. And finally, if I poll you in the chat and I give you an average response back to that poll, the sentiment there is not necessarily indicative of the sentiment of our entire group, just those responding. I don't audit the chat, so do take that stuff as anecdotal. All right, folks, I think we're ready to dive right into the market morning. Let's just start off with a couple of charts that give us a sense of market structure. So I'm just going to pull that across your screen right now. And what you're looking at right now is a daily candlestick chart, bar chart of the S&P E-minis. And you can see that my vertical crosshairs are here, June the 2nd. From June the 2nd onwards, we've been in a market that has been coiling. However, the S&P E-minis have broken out of that coil. So we've seen them come up above the top of the coil. We've gotten above the set of nested volume point of controls. Let's call this just the water line. So the ES is doing a fine job of trying to tell us it wants to come back up towards the all-time highs that were made back over here on the 2nd of June. However, the NASDAQ is a drag. So here's what the NASDAQ looks like on the same sort of structural chart. So now you're looking at the NQ, same sort of coil, but obviously the NQ is at the bottom of the coil. Now, it's been at the bottom for the last three closed bars, and it hasn't broken down. So that should be taken as one sign of a market that is not yet ready to go. Now, if you take a look at the current bar that we are on, we are below a key volume point of control area, and that is the infamous 29,820-ish area. So we're below there right now. It is resistance at this stage, and the longer we remain below it, the graver the risks are for a break of the bottom of the coil. Now, let's go and flip the view over here to the technical charts that can give us an idea from a signaling standpoint what is going on over here. So I'm going to move that across the screen here. Let's go and take a look at that right now. We'll start with the chart that, we'll just go from the daily down. What's the signal on the daily? Well, Triple S students, you can see you've got a down, an up, a down, an up, a down. What is this? This is pre-trade conditioning. This is that classic high probability pattern. It is not broken to one side or the other as of yet. We don't have the double dots on the bars as of yet. But if this down bar remains in play and we come down below the bottom of the MSR channel, we know that there's a higher probability of continuation lower. And now, of course, we'll be careful and watch for that. We also have resistance on top of price, and we've got support underneath price. So it's like the jaws are still clamping down. It's that coiling action that I've been showing you. And the daily chart, depicts that even with the technical structures, like the speed lines, the top of the MSR channel, the bottom of the MSR channel. We are in a zone that would be considered a kill zone on a daily chart. And it should be nothing strange after you've seen this rapid oscillation over the course of the last month and change within this tighter band, reaching the apex of that coil, and then potentially breaking out or breaking down. Now, the 4-hour chart, similar to the daily chart, it's in a sell signal state, but it's in a more negative spot. It's below the channel. We've got a range breaker, wealth signal, the double red dots from the triple S indicator, champion cross, champion trend. They're all on the sell side. And we've got the triple S line threatening to come down below the center of its channel in the subchart, which then would cast a shadow on the market for the next 3 to 5 days, suggesting that we're not going to be able to come up and resolve this negativity. So the 4-hour chart's not looking very optimistic. The 1-hour chart, as negative as it is still got some optimism in it when you're looking at the action from overnight, from really midnight onwards, after the spill that happened, after that spill that happened into the late hours of the evening yesterday, when we got past midnight, we started to see more of a sideways range form. We're still in a sell signal state, but we've been bobbling around sideways. So one way to look at this is, glass half full. The idea would be, hey, we are probably, not certainly, we are probably going to try, at least attempt to make a move back up towards that water line, that 29,820 area. Now, in order to do that, you have to substantiate it with a few things. Are we oversold? Yes. Have we been going sideways and trying to build a base? Yes. Is the ES a support factor that can help pull the NASDAQ up? Yes. Do we have a problem with rates, currencies, other asset classes that are negatively dragging the NASDAQ down? The answer is no. The euro is at a standstill. Precious metals are indecisive. Crypto is indecisive. I'm not really seeing, and I don't have a big rise in oil or anything like that that would tell me that we should be watching out for a geopolitical negative that is already in play. So when I put the picture together, I go, okay, we're in an oversold state. The ES can contribute to helping the market heal, if you will, or pick up some of the slack from the NASDAQ. And of course, it's still got a lot of work to do in order to do that. Now, I'm going to flip you over. I'm going to get your eyes to view in on the 1-hour charts, triple S slow momentum line. That's the blue line that you're looking at right over here. That blue line is sloping down. Now, when I come into day trade a day, I open up my terminal and I'm looking at the 1-hour charts to begin with, and I'm looking at the slope of that blue line. The NASDAQ's line is sloping down. The ES's line is not. It's flattening out now a little bit, but it has been sloping up on that 1-hour time frame, more so than sloping down. I can just flip that open here and zoom in on it so you can see that there. That's the 1-hour chart. So it's a little bit of a different picture over here, and the picture is a picture of cross currents. So when you've got cross currents going on, risks for successful directional trading, go up. Now, if they both align and the NASDAQ drags the ES down and it starts to submerge, and we both, we've got the alignment of that slow momentum line on both the ES and the NQ, well, we don't have too many questions. We'll just be looking at short, short, and short. And then down the hatch we go. And look, that might end up happening. The NASDAQ is weak. It is certainly weak at this stage. The ES is not as weak. The ES is off its lows. The NASDAQ is trying to come back down to its lows of the session. So it's a little more problematic. Now, if you look at the 5-minute chart, I'm just going to put that up over here. It has just very recently moved back into a sell signal state as it sits right now. So it's just recently moved into that sell signal state right now. And that, of course, adds a little bit more negativity to the mix overall. With about 3 minutes left before the cash hours start, we want to really get a good handle on directionally, which way are we likely going to be successful trading. If you're looking at the NASDAQ chart, you're going to say down. If you're looking at the ES chart, you're probably going to have a question mark. because the ES is not as negative. It is still in a spot that's dangerous. If we end up seeing price action come down below 75.75, we're probably going to be in a spot where both indices get dragged down, and we can end up seeing a little slip lower before I think an oversold enough state is in play to allow bottom feeding balance players to come in and try to push this market back up. I don't think that we're in a market yet that has the traumatic catalysts to break things down. Performance is obviously a catalyst in and of itself, and performance is negative on the NASDAQ. So we're aware of that, and we have to respect that. If the NASDAQ wants to drag things down and wants to submerge and take us on a diving trip under the sea, okay, sure. Now it's your turn. It's your turn to vote in the chat. Do you think we are going to go up? Type in the lucky number 7 in the chat. Do you think we're going to go down? Type in the unlucky number 6 in the chat, and let me know from your point of view, which way do you think this thing is going to resolve? Okay, you let me know. So I'm waiting for some of those responses to come in. Bear with me for just a moment here. I'm just going to go off camera for a second here. Need to grab my beverage and fix a couple of things around my terminal, so I'm well situated to drive this morning. It's kind of like being in a race car at the end of the day, and just like a race car driver, for anyone who's done racing or anything like that, you're sitting in your cockpit and you're sweating and it's hot. So I've got fans around me that keep me cool while I'm doing this. All right, so I'm looking through the chat right now, and I am looking for an overall bias, and the bias is down. It's 70-30, leaning to down. So the sixes have won out. That seems to be the dominant answer wherever I look, and off we go. So let's get going from there. So if you're thinking it's up, it may end up turning around from the oversold state that it's in, but we're dealing with a marketplace where clearly the bias based on just directionality that you're seeing pre-market has influenced folks to go down. So my bet would be, as we open in the next 30 seconds, we're probably going to end up seeing a slip down that scares everyone, and it could end up being a breaking point. Could end up being the point that breaks things down. If you end up coming down below 29,500 on the NQ, things do get a little bit more gnarly. There's no question about it. So let's see how this wants to play out. So we're about 10 seconds into the open, and the NASDAQ is trying to hold its speed lines. It is in a sell signal state. Nothing yet has changed. So the opening bar is a sell down. Okay, we're coming. We had a little slip down. It's reversing back up. The slip down has taken us down to the 560s, and we're getting a reversal back up. Now, if you've kind of heard what I've had to say, I've put a few facts down on the table. The ES is trying to help the NQ. The NQ is oversold. We're not seeing other things that tug at the market, tug at it negatively, and we don't have any catalysts that say down, down, down. There you go. We've got this big burst up happening right out of the gates, and this malaise is being somewhat eradicated. It is not off the tape as of yet, but that 1 minute bar reversing after a dip right from the open is pretty telling. I don't think that we're in a marketplace that has the coil break today. I think we're in a marketplace that attempts to get back up to that waterline, that 29,820 marker, and attempts to stabilize. Now, will it be successful? I don't know. And the hard part about this is going to be, we're going to have misalignment in terms of some of the signaling tools, like the momentum tools, like that slow momentum line on the SSS indicator that I shared with you. But if we've got both indices moving in the same direction at the same time, we might be able to squeeze out some trades along the journey to alignment, right? We're trying to see whether or not alignment can happen. Now, I'm going to wait this out. This is a little too volatile, coming down to the 560 area, shooting up to the almost 700 area within seconds. Does not make for smooth trading. Now, if we're going to look for up from here, at the bare minimum, the 1 minute chart needs to be in a buy signal. So we're seeing that little triangle form right now. Okay, so it's in place right now. And let's see if it can remain in place and if I can actually take on a long side trade. The trade that I think I'm going to take it on is going to be on the ES. So I'm going to bring the ES up on the screen. I'm going to put that on one side of the screen over here. I'll put the NQ stuff on the other side. Let's see if I can get it fashioned right and done in time. And let's just explode open the 1 minute chart. There we go. So I am going to take on a buy right where we are right now. So I'm in a long. Okay, you can see the position timers in play. It's not working right away. The NQ is still, perky enough for me to want to say I can sustain the position. So I'm willing to sustain the position, but I've got my finger on the trigger here. In the case that this thing starts to unravel harshly, like it almost is right now, I'm down a couple of $100 on the trade already. I'm looking for a reversal right now. If that reversal doesn't happen forthwith, I'm going to have to take a little pain. I'm looking for a push back up driven by the NASDAQ on the premise that we're in an oversold market where the ES has some legs to hold this thing up. But right now, the sell signal is getting pervasive. I have to get out of the way. I held that trade way too long, and it ended up losing me $325. Good thing that account is still in profit positive territory. So that account is still alive. And now I'm going to have to get back on the horse and figure out if I can take on a long side trade if this thing comes right back up above 85, or am I going to start playing the short side? It really is 75 to 77 that would have to break. And it's hard to argue with the NASDAQ coming down and making a lower low right now. It's hard to argue with the pervasive sell signal state. And for those who are short right now, kudos to you. Okay, just be very careful for whipsaws here because we've got this misaligned state in the market. In terms of the 1 hour chart momentums on the ES and the NQ. Okay, so now let's see if that double red dots remain in play and we start to slip and fall, and maybe I can get on a short and keep playing short. I'm trying one right now. I'm trying one. It's, we've breached the low, so I've decided to try it while we breach the low. And of course, I'm going to keep my finger on the trigger and be very careful with the position and see if I can make it to the 20-second marker and continue to eke out some profit over here. So getting closer to that 20 seconds, and it's up $200, $160, and I'm taking my profit of about $112 on that particular trade. Okay, so short is working. Long did not work out. I got my head handed to me with a reversal on the 9:33 a.m. Eastern time bar. Is the short going to continue working? Can I continue to stay on that side of the actual market move? Now, the sentiment vote that we did, was a one that leaned to down. Nothing has changed about the down. It's still there. And the NASDAQ is getting weaker and weaker. And I'm starting to think I should just get into a short on the NQ. But it's so oversold. We know it can get oversolder. It's so oversold that I want to have a little more control over this. And that's why I'm thinking I'd rather do it on the ES. And I'm waiting right now. I'm not comfortable just yet. For those who have traded already, let me know, let me know. And I agree, Harsh, the manipulation to the upside and then the rip back down, it's a classic thing that can happen. I'm still of the opinion that the configuration of the market can support a potential turn back around off of a deeply oversold state, but we're getting to a very critical line, right? We're getting right down to the bottom of the coil. And this is the make or break, right? Right there, we're at the bottom of the coil for the NQ. Has the ES been dragged back down into the coil? Let's go and take a look at the ES real quick over here. And the answer is no. It's still above the top of the coil. So as I look at this, I can't really change any of the fundamental things I've said to you. They're all there. And Jean-Paul, that news on the tanker, it was a Qatari tanker, right? I think so. I scanned through the headlines in the morning to see, and then I looked at oil and I didn't see, enough movement. But let's see how this resolves right now. So I'm glad I was a little patient here for the next short. If we're oversold enough and at the bottom of the coil, are we going to bounce off the bottom of the coil? Okay, so the 1 minute chart for the NQ is what you have on the screen on the right-hand side. The 1 minute chart for the ES is what you have on the left-hand side. Folks were telling me that they like that side-by-side view, especially in this nature of market. And right now, I've got an oversold bounce into falling resistance where the temptation to take on the long is overturned by the fact that we can get reversals, and get whack-a-mole back down. The next area of opportunity for a long on the ES would have to be above at least the center of the 1 minute charts channel, which would be 75.80. And for the NQ, where we can see the channel's got technical damage, right? It's gone magenta. It's in a sell signal state. We would have to be at least, I'd be worried about it even above 600, but above 620, I could consider a long. Above 75.80, I could consider a long. Just remember that this is just the reflexive shorts coming off the table from that spill that we just had. We have not seen all of those shorts overturned. If we start to get more than halfway through the range from the range high, cash hours open high to low so far, which would be around 75, 79, then you could say that we can have another squeeze up. Otherwise, we may end up succumbing to gravity here and continue to come down. The NQ is, of course, dangling right at the bottom of its coil. And the bottom of the coil is, it's a zone, 29,500 with a 20-point radius around it. So right now, I am seeing the threat of that breach to break things down, leading me to try to sell the breakdown that just happened to a lower low. But I want to be very careful because we can get whipsawed over here, right? We can get whipsawed over here. The trade's in the money slightly right now. It's an ES short. I've had it in force for about 13 seconds. Let's see if we get that whoosh down and I can continue to capitalize on this direction. My finger's on the trigger to get out in the case that this thing starts to go awry. And I'm not even taking one little bit of green as soon as that happened, I got right out of the way. Lost maybe 50 bucks on that trade. Can it come right back down again? Absolutely. Holding on to it can make sense, but we're so oversold and we're at the bottom of the coil. I'd rather someone else give me a direction on this, right? I'd rather the market be the guinea pig and say, okay, we're breaking the coil. Maybe we'll come back test the underbelly and then roll over. Or we get whipsawed right back up, which is the nature of trading in a coil. And now I don't think we'll be overturning the highs of the day, but that's what I'm worried about, right? So you can see it for yourself. Deeply oversold, bottom of the coil. In earnest, I said, look, I'll try a trade if we're going to break the coil. I can control it a little better with the ES. We didn't break it, right? And exactly, Jimmy, we are only 10 minutes in. So there's a lot of time left on the tape, if you will, to find a better trading posture. But look, sell signals are aligned on the NASDAQ 1 minute, 5 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour daily chart. It is pervasively negative. Okay, in terms of the on-chart signaling. Now, that competes with the coil structure that I keep showing you, and we're still holding the bottom of the coil. So I'm going to wait, and wait. Now, for everyone listening in, are you under control? Is everything okay on your side? Let me know. You can let me know with the letter Y or lucky number 7 in the chat, whatever you're comfortable with. I just want to make sure that folks are not seeing this as an opportunity to overtrade this moment. I'm trying to choose if we're going to start a bigger move. I want to participate in it, but I want to control it to an extreme. So at this moment in time, we've got an oversold bounce off the bottom of the coil. You can actually see the tail grow. You can actually see the tail grow on the NASDAQ chart. These are, of course, that's the daily bar, but you can see the tail on the bar. All right, we've had ample opportunity to break the coil in this last 4 bars, and it hasn't. And that doesn't mean it won't. It's just the factors surrounding the market are not negative enough. We don't have a massive move in oil. We don't have a big rising dollar that can put downward pressure on things priced in the US dollar, like equities. We don't have precious metals telling us anything that is extraordinarily risky. Gold is doing a little bit better than silver, which means there's a little fear premium being injected into it, but nothing too dramatic at this stage. It looks like folks are doing all right. Okay, good. I'm happy to hear it. And Arnaud, you're saying the ES chart not visible under an hour? No, this is it, right? This is the 1 minute chart. So we can look at the hour, of course. We can look at all of the time frames if needed. But right now, I think we've got it all lined up. But you let me know if you need to see something. I'm happy to toggle it on if need be. And Michael C, that might be the way to go, right? In my pre-market work, my bias, if you want to call it a bias, or the lean that I had, is that the market's going to try to come back up to the water line on the NQ, and is going to potentially, well, let's just say it this way, it's going to attempt to stabilize. Whether it's successful or not is too difficult a question to answer. But I picked the lane ahead of the open, and I said, hey, I don't have the factors that say it's breakdown day. So at this stage, I'm not convinced that I want to jump into the long and stay. But we're getting closer and closer to the line on the ES, and I'm taking it in the upper half of the 1 minute charts MSR channel. I'm in it right now. If we come back down below the speed lines, I'm not going to stay in the trade. But I'm seeing the beginnings of a pattern. The bottom of the coil is holding. We're deeply oversold. The ES is trying to pick up slack from the NQ. Now I'm just looking for it to shoot right up above the 80 marker, and there's a profitable trade, and I'm taking some profit. 24 seconds in, probably around $100 on that particular trade. Is this trade still valid, and is it going to remain in play? I want the Nasdaq to cooperate with the ES. I'd like to see it perforate the top of its MSR channel. The ES has already done that on a 1 minute chart basis. And I'd want to make sure that it's not going to drag the ES down like it just did. So I'd rather take profit sooner, have shorter durations in the position. Now, if we do a full retrace right back up to the cash session highs, that should be good enough evidence to say that this market is going to try to hold up. And I agree, it is very wicky right now. We are in a congestion zone, Jimmy. So that's something that we have to deal with. And I don't think we've got any data of consequence coming out today. Nothing that's heavy hitting. The biggest data on the week really is the FOMC meeting minutes and the bond auctions. We get the FOMC meeting minutes tomorrow at 2 p.m., which I think is just going to be bad news. And we get the results of a 10-year U.S. Treasury auction at 1:01 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow afternoon as well. Not a whole bunch of heavy hitting data on Thursday or Friday at all either. So Arnaud, that's something that you should write into support on, right? I'm not sure what's going on there. First, refresh the platform and try it. But that's that shouldn't be the case if you've got the data permissions, of course, right? So definitely go check that out, Arnaud. All right, I'm in wait mode right now. It's so exciting that we're waiting. That's okay. I'd rather be in wait mode than in a bad trade. So we've tried to come up. We've come up more than about more than half of the overall range. Okay, so that's somewhat encouraging. But we need to see it sustain. The top of the channel is the guide. 75.80 on the ES and 610 on the NQ. And we're just not above those areas right now. So if this thing wants to come back down again, do I want to participate? I really need to watch and see whether or not I'm willing, right? Because we've had this, initial bar that pushed us lower and then shot us up. And then we had the whole thing torn down and then some. And then we've come all, more than halfway back. And we're not able to sustain. It looks like the market's living on a prayer. So we need to wait. Well, at least I do. Okay, so there's a rejection happening here. This 1 minute bar closes below the ES's MSR channel bottom. It's joined the NQ below there. The NQ's already had a close below it. That was the last 1 minute bar. And this can mean down to a lower low. Now we've got the right momentum in play, and below 75, I can try potentially a short entry. The abrupt slowdown that we're seeing here in the decline is a little unnerving, but the sell signal state is in play. I'm trying it. I'm in it. It's not in the money immediately. If it reverses into the channel, I get out of the way. Doesn't matter. Not interested in staying in that position. I want to see rejection at the bottom of the channel, and I want to see that rejection hold in place if I want to short it. And then I can short it down to the lows or wait for the lows. If we're going to reverse back up, it is above the top of the channel that I can start to consider long. And, you know, to be honest, I'd much rather play the long side in an oversold state coming off the bottom of a coil, right? If we were not, if this did not exist, I would not be arguing with any technical signals. We're right at the bottom of the coil. It's perforated like it was here, but it's not broken, right? We have to clear it by a value of noise, which is over 100 points on the NQ to really tell us that this thing is going to unravel. And it has not done that. Okay, here we go. NQ is still a problem. It's still going to be the sore spot. ES is trying to come up above the top of its 1 minute chart MSR channel. And I am, again, considering the long. I'd like to see the triple S line cross above that slow momentum line and then see if I can take on a long side trade. We poked our hairs up there. I'm in. I'll give it a little moment to breathe here. Don't want to be in it for too long because the market is not resolved. You know, whether or not it wants to, you know, pull its pants up and go, you know, pull its long pants up or keep its shorts on. It's still in progress of deciding that at this moment in time. So technically a bit of a higher low, same on the NQ. NQ still facing the pressures of falling resistance on top of it, which can poison pill the ES. ES is, you know, fighting tooth and nail to hold on to the center area of its channel and hold above the speed lines. And it's still early in the day. If the NASDAQ plummets and makes a lower low versus 516, I'm going to get out of this trade on the ES because it can just drag the ES down and you know, ruin the day. So NQ hasn't done it yet, but the ES itself now is coming down to the bottom of its channel, and I'm in the trade for longer than I want. NQ is coming down. It's made a lower low. I have to get out of the way. So I think the writing is on the wall here. Leave the coil within the coil alone. So if you take a look at, maybe I can draw it. I can just do it in air here. You can see the falling highs, rising lows. It's a micro coil within the actual daily bar that is at the bottom of that bigger time frame coil, starting you know, in early June. I'm not seeing anything right now that gives me you know, stability for directional trading. I had the beginnings of it a couple of minute bars ago, but no. And exactly, George, right? You've got oscillating longs and shorts, and they're competing with each other. So if folks are watching and, you know, watching it carefully, you go, I cannot consistently trade one direction until I've got that directional bias set in. And the ES can start to lead it, but if we end up seeing the NASDAQ drag and poison pill things down, the whole thing busts to the downside. And look, that direction is signaled. The NASDAQ on a 1 minute chart, 5 minute chart, 1 hour chart, 4 hour chart is in a sell signal state. And we are now back to the bottom of the coil, which is around the 29,500 marker. So I think I'm just going to wait for a little bit over here and allow the market to come to me. And Debbie, that's the goal, right? I want to be very, very clear. And, you know, I'm going to test things out and see if they work. If they don't, then, you know, have to reassess. And right now, the NASDAQ is pulling us lower. It is pulling us lower. It is dragging us down. And we're near lows. I'm very tempted to short below the low. The NASDAQ's already made a lower low. We can see that very clearly. Now, what we're looking for is a clean break one way or the other, so a directional trade can breathe for minutes or more. And at this stage, I don't think we've got that. We've got a reversal tail on the last closed 1 minute bar. We still have some time before the hour change where mechanical things can affect direction in the market. We do have some data coming out at 10, but it's not consequential. And the NQ is the whippy one, Simon. I fully agree with that. We're dealing with an ES that is being graded on and hurt by the persistent negativity and lack of buying on the NQ. And we are below 29,500 on the NQ right now, opening the door to a potential short, but we still haven't taken out the lows for the ES. I'm very tempted to try to take the short below the lows. But this is also the maximum area of oversoldedness where we can end up seeing a whipsaw. So dare I try it? The trade is valid, right? We're below support structures. The trade is valid, okay? It is a valid trade, but it is at a low. We are below the bottom of the coil on the NQ, so things can start to unravel quicker. So I want to see if that is going to actually persist or not. If this thing starts to reverse back up rapidly, I just get out of the way. There's no point in staying. But if the NQ continues to do what it's doing right now, which is making lower lows, it can, of course, drag the ES down. Now we're back to 69.70 on the ES. My finger's on the trigger to get out in case this whipsaw's any further against me. But I'm looking for a whoosh down now into the end of the hour. Flush it out. Green bar, don't like the start of that. Want to see that bar go red and redder and just fall. And the NQ is supporting that. The trade's slightly in the money. It's in the money. It's been in force for about a minute, this trade. And let's see if we can get a bigger flush now. We've got about 3 more points. We can see the ES erode until it hits a tentative support area. We go above 67, I get out of the trade. Okay, I took a point of profit on that trade, but I just followed my rule, right? If I'm not going to get a flush down, I could get caught in a reversal back up that could be very violent, because this is effectively the dynamics of breaking a structure that we're dealing with, right? And it's a structure that's got lots of pent-up energy being built at the end of the day. That energy is the same amount of energy. It's just whether it gets released to the downside or to the upside. And obviously, we're below the bottom of the coil at this stage by about 50 points. So, downside is becoming much more clean and clear to play. The NASDAQ is coming down, and it's getting a little more slower and orderly, actually, as I speak. So I'm starting to get more confident in wanting to trade the NQ on the short side and see if I can make a go of that. The hard part is it is very whippy, as Simon was saying, which means it can reverse very quickly, and there's a larger range with the NQ. So it can become very costly if it's not done right. But we're getting the beginning of the whoosh. I'm trying a short on the NQ right now. I have very little tolerance for how long I can stay in it. And I don't want any green. No green. No thank you. No green bars at all. If it's going to be red and stay red, I'm going to stay in the trade. Otherwise, no thank you at all. So now, as we come closer to the end of the hour, I am expecting the flush at this stage. It should flush. Those that are in shorts at this stage on the ES above 70, 69.5, I'd rather not be in shorts. Above, it can happen very fast. Above 65, 465, I would not want to be in shorts on the NQ. So for now, it's just a hold the short if one is in it. I am flat right now, just waiting for my next opportunity to present. And let's see if something good comes out. Suraj, that's great. It happens, right? When the fat finger hits the wrong button, and sometimes it works out. It's like, oh, okay, maybe the universe is telling me something. It's just random. But I'm glad it worked out that way for you. That's good. So are we oversold enough now to get a oversold bounce that starts a repair? Well, look, we got to rise about 380 points before we get to that area. And that might end up working, Michael. And no, I very rarely use the reverse button. Oh, that's amazing. LFG. What do you say? Oh, that's 03I. That's an amazing result. Well done. Well done. Okay, bottom of the coil has been breached, deeply oversold. No flush as of yet. 3 bars in a row of trying to stabilize. NQ is trying to do the stabilizing, believe it or not, more so than the ES is. And we're above markers that should probably bust shorts. Gave you the number in advance, 465. Short should be busted above 66.5, 67 on the ES. Oversold bounce scalps might be valid, but right into the end of the hour, we're not getting a whoosh. We're getting it wanting to stabilize. We're still below the bottom of the coil, marginally by about 30 points or so on the NQ. And Trisno, that's a great question, right? If you've gone down a path where it's not clean or clear, or it hasn't worked out, or even if it works out too well, one can get on tilt. You can get on euphoric tilt. You can get on depressive tilt, right? And recognizing that is the first step to being able to go, okay, probably time to just take a pause, reassess, look for a different rhythm in the market, and reapproach it. What one should be willing to do is to not necessarily have to disengage completely, but to change and go back to first principles. Are we in an oversold market? Are we in a market that is breaking major support? Has it led to a whoosh to a degree that says downside is going to be in play for the rest of the morning or the next hour, whatever it may be? Are we seeing the things that the market is attached to tug at it in one direction or the other? And go back to the first principles of asking the questions of what is the status, what is the setup, what are the conditions, what are the signals, and then one can attempt it in another way, right? Either by paper trading something smaller, using less size. The walkaway moment completely, though, is not applicable necessarily in my role. Okay, but for anyone that needs to kind of disengage and go, okay, I need to clear the mind completely. Clearing the mind by taking a break, of course, chemically, about 20 minutes does the work. But clearing the mind and then refocusing yourself on what is going on and what can I take a piece of requires going back to first principles always. So it's the set of questions that you ask yourself. where you try to get the proof off of the charts that can then help you make a choice. Jim K, I'm happy to hear that. And Scott, that's still great. Amazing. Okay, so past the hour, a couple minutes have gone by, sell signals persist, but we're off the lows. We are still below the coil bottom, and the next breakdown point is really the lows. Call it 29,420 on the NQ, and 775.60 on the ES. And you're welcome, Trisno. Hey there, Lisa. Okay, so oversold bounce. Yeah. Still in force. Hasn't gone away. Becomes tradable on the ES above 72, upper half of the channel, or above 74, above the top of the channel. And even then, one wants to take great care, because we've now moved into a situation where sell signals are pervasive across multiple time frames. I'm not trying it. I'd like to just trade with this trend. If we're going to come down and break the low, sure, I'll take a short. We're getting close to the marker where I can try that on the ES. And the concern that I have here is we've already had that move down. It's stabilized. It stabilized right before the end of the hour. Now it's coming, I've seen this pattern before. You can call it a cup and handle if you want. It can be very, very dangerous. So I'm going to wait for the low, and I want to see breach and whoosh. I can transact it on the breach of the low. Want to see the NASDAQ do the same thing. And it should be if it breaches, it should be a breach and whoosh down. Otherwise, get the heck out of Dodge. So I'm hovering over the button. I'm in the trade on the breach, just like I said I would. I want to see that whoosh. So it's a short side trade. It's one contract on the ES. It's been in force for 12 seconds. And it's not delivering a whoosh at this stage. I'll see if I can get it to the 20-second marker. And if it does anything different, if that bar goes green, I go away. Okay, not too much damage on that trade, but certainly not a whoosh. Is it just sniffing it out, testing it? Are we going to whoosh the next? It can happen, of course. But I played a setup. It did not work. I'm getting a double bottom now. Okay, the neckline is sitting at 70. The neckline for a double bottom on the NQ would be at 505, 506, somewhere in that area. The primary trended direction is obviously down. The signals are obviously set up for down. The NQ on a 5-minute chart is still in a very pervasive sell signal state. We don't have a breakout forecaster on the last close bar, nor on this bar, and some compression in the speed line. So there's some risk of a oversold bounce. 1 hour chart, slow down in the decline, but right near the lows. Okay, so oversold bounce. And Jimmy, the position timer will always show up in the upper center of the chart, like right where my cursor is here, or right here on the NQ. And you can toggle that on and off by going to the config menu. So the config menu, I've got position time indicator on. All right, let's use the power of our communal wisdom. Up or down, 7 for up, 6 for down for the next market move. You let me know in the chat if you want to participate. Next move down, vote for 6. Next move up, vote for 7. And feel free to share in the chat. It's persistently dragging. And this is a very difficult situation to say it's going to stabilize. It's also a difficult trade because we're right at lows. Breakdowns, breakouts are difficult. Continuation could be there. This could be effectively a consolidate to bearishly continue down zone. Same for the NQ. And it could lead to a great trade. But it's, of course, very risky until the bottom of the pattern breaks. And what I was trying to do earlier was trying to get in on the breach of the bottom and look for a direct unravel. There's another setup now, same sort of idea. It's coming down for the third time. Markets like the number 3. If it comes down and breaches the low the third time, it's the same sort of idea. Whoosh, big whoosh at that stage. And that is another trade I will consider taking pretty much at the lows. I'd like to see it breach the lows. So Nasdaq 70 points or so below the bottom of the coil on the daily chart. It's pretty much expunged the noise range to tell us that it's broken. Okay, so it's pretty much expunged that noise range. So I'm trying it again on the ES. I'm just not seeing it follow through and whoosh, which each time we get right down to the bottom to try to open the door and just fall apart, we're seeing some support come in, which is not, of course, ideal. If I want to try this thing on the short side, the bar is green right now. We're hitting speed lines. I'm still holding it because we're underneath the speed lines. And I want to see the thing reverse now down into the point where it actually breaks the floor. Now look at the NASDAQ, right? The NASDAQ's actually trying to lift the ES up. The bars are not the same color. One's green, one's red. The ES is the one that I'm shorting, and now they're both aligned green. Forget it. It can still whoosh down, but I don't want to partake in it if I'm going to get a whipsaw right back up. So those who are still in it, it's still valid. I don't think that above 62 or 63, I'd want to be holding it on the ES. And if I was short on the NQ, the number is still the same. It's around 65. Above 65, the short is not alive. So 11 twice, what are you saying? It does look like it's about to fall apart. Looks like, smells like, starting to walk like it. And I can retry the trade again the same way. I'm trying it one more time. I'd like to see the proof in the pudding of the breakdown. If we're going to break down and whoosh, I'd like the proof to be there with the break, the breach, and all that jazz in play. Okay, it's getting hammered now. Let's see if we end up getting that hammering good enough to get me more than a point out of this trade. This should be something that takes us down to about 57 points roughly on the ES. I don't know if I'm going to be able to capture all of that, but trades in the money slightly. Let's see if we can get another point out of this or more. And I'm taking profit, 150 or something like that. The action should be speeding up, not slowing down if we're breaking support. And what we're doing right now is slowing down into lows that we had back over here. Now, I'm going to break the chart apart a little bit more here so that we can kind of see the volume profile and get a sense of, hey, is there a floor here of any substance? The next floor would be at 350. So there's about 50 to 60 points of potential downside to go on the NQ from where it sits right now. And it can drag the ES down to sub 55, I think, Kurt. So we're at the 55 marker. Last short was a profitable short. Still in an oversold market. Maintaining the shorts is the key, and speed lines can be useful for that. Okay, so we've gone sub 54. We've got a lower marker on the triple S tool. No positive divergence. It's not a positively divergent lower low, nor for the NQ. Those who are in shorts right now, there's another 30 points likely on the NQ. And as far as the ES goes, just want to double check one thing over here and see where my level's at. So 54 and then 45 are the two numbers on the ES. We're hovering around the 54, and then there's a potential 9-point drop. The NQ has got another 20 points to go before it hits support. Support would be at 350 and then at 280. So we're at 369, 370. And the next major support would be near local lows made near the back end of June, the 24th onwards to the 29th. And that would be in the 280 area. Okay, indecision, starting to get a little more negative on the NQ side to make a lower low. We're trying to depart the 54 area on the ES. The next stop is 45. I'm trying the trade on the ES on the basis that the NQ is dragging it down. And of course, we're in a sell signal state. Trade went profit positive as soon as the button was hit, which is usually better news than not. Now we need to see it sustain that profit positivity. And we can see a whoosh now down to 45-ish. So well in the money on the trade. And I'm going to give it another. Okay, there's a nice $200 trade, $175 trade on the ES. Taking the same pattern, the continuation of the move down. The decision to maintain the position is up to the individual trader. We are in a downtrend. We have broken the bottom of the coil on the NQ side. We are deeply oversold. The trade worked out very well. We're coming down to support now on the ES around the 45 area, which is a key line in the sand for the week for the primary market. The selling should slow down here. It should actually slow down here, and we should end up seeing, the 45 area act as a bullseye for balance. So far, we're still within its gravity well, so that hasn't changed. And on the NQ side, the next support structure is at 280. So 45 is acting like a balance area right now. That's where price is holding on the primary market. So it's holding. And that's a good insight there, Stephen E., that VIX popped a little bit. But it's been delayed reaction with VIX from what we've seen in the recent past, especially. Right? It's not become as useful an indication as it has been. So you heard in advance, 45 is likely going to be an area where the selling slows down. It did exactly that. So I'm not in a trade right now. We come back down below 45, perhaps I get another short off. We're so deeply oversold right now that the whipsaws back up can become dangerous. So take great care, have your stops in, make sure that you're, protecting any positions that are in force. And Kurt, exactly, we've effectively come down to the line in the sand for the week, which is 75.45. And if it wants to break it and continue, look, the NQ, the one thing that I want to say on the NQ, if you go look at the the bigger time frames, the bigger the technical tracks that are laid down. So the daily chart, now I've got that toggled on for the NQ. So I said 280 and 246 have to be considered as support. 280 local lows from the back end of June, 246 bottom of the daily charts MSR channel. So this is the area where if we breach it, it'll be the first breach since the back end of June. And that would be a very big negative. All right, that opens the door for a lot more selling. How fast it will be, it's hard to gauge in this market. But we should be slowing down into which we are, should be slowing down into support of the bottom of the MSR channel on that daily time frame. Now, we're in a sell signal state on the daily chart, so make no mistake of that. Sell signal state on the 4-hour chart, sell signal state on the 1-hour chart, okay, with the triple S line now moving into the very bottom quadrant, so it can accelerate over the course of the next several hours. If we sustain below roughly 29,400, 29,350, 5-minute chart, breakout forecaster on the last sell bar. So we're in, from a champion trend pack toolkit standpoint, we're in a sell sequence that's still in play. Back tests of falling resistance could be used as a tactic. I know 11 twice you were asking about that. If we back test falling resistance, that back test of falling resistance could be trigger worthy for a short. In this oversold of a state, it's not my thing to do. Let's get over to the 1-minute charts again and just get a good look at how things are kind of playing themselves out. Is crude actually popping like a lot, John Paul? Let me just take a look on my side as well here. Yeah, that's a decent pop, right? Change day over day is 1.8%. It was pretty much up like 0.6% when we looked at it, when I looked at it pre-market. So that was a nothing burger. That pop is of significance. I'm looking at it on another screen, obviously. So that headline has had an impact. And let's see if gold is still holding on to some of its fear premium, barely. It's moved more close to unch. And silver was in the red. It's still in the red. It's off its lows, down 1.1%. I'm not seeing it be dramatic enough yet to say it's going to break. It's a market breakdown thing. Oil is so oversold, and it's been, holding at a floor just above the gaps that happened earlier in the year before it started the run up. So I think the very, very clear thing here is, look, we're dealing with an oversold bounce now. You heard me call out 75.45 as the key line that we should see the selling slow down at. It did. We've got a counter trend bounce in play right now that has legs for a trade. It's just very risky. There is still room of about 5 to potentially 6 points, 7 points of a rise. I'm not going to take that trade. Because we are in a downtrending market, which is very, very clear. So I'd rather reshort the market. And the hard part now is we've come down to a line of balance. So the next reshort opportunity, based on what I know, if it actually tests the channel, is not going to take us to a lower low likely. So what I'm saying specifically is if price comes into the falling channel and we get the opportunity for a reshort, it's not likely going to take us to a lower low. If we don't test the channel and we just come down, yeah, lower lows are very likely. It's still oversold dynamics that you're going to have to work with, which is, of course, a challenge. The ES is now coming back, kind of like the, I was showing you the daily chart coil. The ES is coming to test the overbelly of the top of the coil, and it is below that waterline, the 75.55 area. So selling can beget selling. But if it gets back up, even 75.52, it's telling us that, whoa, hold on, right? This was a shakedown, not a breakdown. This is something that will go kind of call it a bear trap, if you will. The NASDAQ has come down to local lows. It is below the bottom of the coil. The day is not over, right? You could still see a reversal. but that's not what I'm counting on. I'm just aware that it's still at the place where that can happen. We've damaged the bottom of the coil significantly enough that it's bad news for those who want to look for the reversal back up and a market that trends back up to highs. It's obviously bad news. And right now, if you take a look at the NQ on that 5-minute chart, is it consolidate to continue bearishly lower? All right, so let's put our voting fingers in play. And let me know in the chat which way you see in the next the next move in the market, next very short-term move. If you think it's down, put number 6 in the chat. If you think it's up, put number 7 in the chat. Feel free to participate, and I'll communicate back if I've got enough responses. So we didn't test the channel. We're coming back down towards lows. I see the number 6 running through the chat primarily. We might be a little lopsided, but it is there. And we're coming back down to our line in the sand for the week, 45. If we're breaching it again, I have the opportunity to take a short on the breach of 45. The breach of 300 on the NQ would be the short. And what would this trade be? It would be a whoosh if it's going to happen. So I'm going to try it. I'm going to stay in it very temporarily. If I start to see reversals, I'm just not even going to participate. I'm not even going to stay in it. So I tested it out as I was seeing the breach in motion. That entry did not work. The breach happens again. I could try it again. It's not my favorite trade, but I can try it again. Or I could simply wait for the low, which is 42, and take it below the low. The Nasdaq's already made a lower low, as you can see. So the ES I've got a little more control over the ES, so I'm going to try the short on the ES side if the NQ drags us lower. And I might actually switch to the MNQ while we have these wide ranges. I might start doing that a little more tomorrow, because I would like to trade the NQ, but of course, one misclick and one bad trade, and it can wipe out an entire day of work. So deeply oversold, potential positively divergent lower low forming on the NQ. It's not locked in a positive divergence. Breaching is happening. I'm not in the trade, and I feel like I'd be chasing it if I jump in right now. So I'm waiting. Scalping the short here can work, but not here. Okay, so we've got 75.40 on the ES, 270, 280 on the NQ. We're deeply oversold. We're in aligned sell signals across multiple time frames. On the NQ, it's all the way up to the daily time frame. And this is that moment where, danger comes out, and you go, oh, okay, is it going to whoosh and just continue? Signals would support more likely downside. Deeply oversold conditions would say whipsaws back up can happen at any given moment. Entries of shorts need to be manicured and taken care of very carefully. If it doesn't work right away, it's probably better to get out of the way. So I've got the NQ trying to push the ES down. I'm going to give it one more try here on the ES side as the NQ tries to pull us lower. And of course, want to see that drag take us down towards 32 would be the next number, 34 to 32 on the ES. We're at 38, 39. And I'm not seeing it follow through to the downside. I'm seeing a green body start to grow. Fingers on the trigger to get out. If I don't get the NASDAQ hammering it and pulling it down. Not interested in staying if the bar is going to go green. So lost a couple of ticks or so on that one. But this is what I mean. It's very nerve-wracking. Now, if one can sustain the position, should there be another lower low? The signals say yes. Where is that lower low? Well, we're coming down right to the bottom of the daily charts MSR channel. Now, the bigger the time frame, the stronger the technical structures are on the screen. So on the right-hand side of your screen, let's just make it full screen for a second here, so you can kind of get a good sense of it. We're coming right down to a major area of support, the MSR channel bottom. The last time we were in this neighborhood, we didn't engage with it. Okay, we have not actually tested it this go around. The time before, we perforated it, but it still acted like a support structure in the following days, on the same day of the 9th, and on the 10th, and on the 11th. Now, recency bias is not a bad thing in markets because everyone's looking left to understand what to do right now in the now. But we are coming down to probably test it. If it breaches, probably we get a whoosh. Probably. Okay, so let me just redock this now. I'll take you back down through the time frame so you can see the alignment in the sell signals. 4-hour sell, 1-hour sell, 5-minute sell with the breakout forecaster on the last 5-minute bar, sustaining below the speed lines. 1-minute chart, sell signal state as well, and still holding under the speed lines marginally. And we're getting close to the center of the hour. There's modest mechanical things that can happen that can pivot the market opposite direction or enhance the trend at the center and the top of the hours. Usually the top of the hours are more filled with things that can be, structurally affect the market, whether it be data or strategies turning on, turning off. Okay, oversold bounce. Or failure. And exactly, George, 10:30, you're spot on. 10:30 is somewhat more important than other center of hours because it is the full first hour of cash hours, as you mentioned. I agree. And it's the one that you always remind me about because I get caught, right? We have setups, and right now I'm not going to take on the long, but if this reversal does end up being a reversal, you'll know it's a reversal when a couple of things happen. You can draw a direct downtrend line, right? A downtrend line. If we're somewhere in the 75-50 area or higher, the downtrend on the ES is broken, but we still have structures of technical resistance on top of price. So one wants to be careful. You clear the downward sloping structures on a 1-minute chart, and then you've got a lot more clarity for a reversal that can sustain. Now, I still think that the oversold bounce, 11 twice, if you're getting in it, all the power to you, man. All the power to you. NQ above 370 looks a little cleaner. ES above 53 looks a little cleaner. I don't want to be caught in the hornet's nest and get stung, especially when we are in a sell signal that is sustained. And one of the hard parts about you know a setup is it has to be clean and linked to the trend. So a breakdown right now could either be taken as prices are coming below the speed lines or below the lows. Right? We didn't come up and make a higher high. We're still downtrending. In this case, I would rather take the short below 39 if I was going to take it, rather than on the break below the speed lines. And similarly for the NQ, it would be a short below, call it 260, if the market gives that to us. Otherwise, we're in an oversold bounce that's trying to get off the mat, potentially lead to a repair. There's still a long way we'd have to travel up before we can even talk about repair at this stage. And I agree with you, Sir Ferbs. I agree with you. The simple math on this is we're so oversold, but we've damaged structures that's going to scare everyone. So it's going to reduce the potential buying that can come into play. It's really about bearish positions that are in force in the market saying that they're done, right? So the nature of an exodus of bearish positions is, I think you said it well, Kurt. I think it was Kurt. You said it well in the chat. Then up like a bat out of hell. That would be the idea. It'll look like a squeeze, and it will shoot up like a lightning rod. If we get a good weight of the shorts in play, getting out of the way, and they haven't. These are minor profit-taking bounces on bearish positions since 9:45 a.m. Eastern time, really since pretty much the open. Okay, we're getting dangerously close to the lows. Getting dangerously close to the lows. Let's see. Pardon me for a second. Okay, let's see if there's another trade here below the 75.39 marker, or is this going to be inverted head and shoulders, reversal, bottoming pattern, and all of that? We'll have to see. I think it's good to see you. If you're looking for Wealth Tracker and Wealth Charts, just go to the hamburger menu and go to the search bar, or you can open it up with the left bumper. Okay, I'm going to start looking for that short entry right now on the breach. Like I said, I would try potentially, and I'm in it. Okay, so we breached. It's swooshing. I've got room down to 32 potentially, 34 to 32. I want to see if I can hold the position long enough to capture any profit or get out of the way if it wants to give me this oversold bounce above that fast speed line. I am not likely going to sustain the position. Let's see where it goes. Grow that red bar and give me a bigger whoosh down to about 32. Could be upwards of 6 points lower on the ES, or it could become a very nasty bullish reversal, which is not really bullish. It's effectively bearish position saying, it's not dropping. I'm getting out of the way. So trade's in the money. Let's see if we can get a little more out of it or not. Basically a scratch. I think it was a tick of loss there. I have very little tolerance to sustain because we are at, quote unquote lows. And as far as directional trades go, we have the direction down, right? But we're at such a depth of discount that the psychology of the shorts that are mechanical and done in a discretionary manner, the psychology of the shorts are you want results fast on the short side. And if the result does not come in fast, cover. And that's not a bad plan, waiting for the down to go. And I know that the 20 seconds is a long time, Gus, but it's just a little bit of a different style. So right now we're not seeing higher highs. We've got lower lows. Okay, they're not getting dramatically bigger in between the lows, right? The distance or the delta between the low over here at 10:15 a.m. and the low over here versus the lows that we just made, or let's see, we can't call this a low yet, but the delta is compressing. The distance between these lows is compressing, which means when the sellers have a hold of the tape, they're not actually more aggressive. And that is a problem. You got one move that takes the ES, the NQ above the last local high, the tone will change dramatically into the end of the hour. And we have to also consider into the end of the hour, the positions and strategies that come off the tape for some of the markets that close at that point. And there's other strategies in North America that will come off the tape. They're all saying, the market's net short quite clearly. And if short's not working, there'll be tranches of covering of those shorts, and it'll rocket ship back up. That would be the norm. So we'll see. I like that, David B. The thumb comes off the ant and the ant runs away. Right, exactly. Or a slingshot. And I agree, Sir Ferbs, 75.55 is a very important line, right? So you've seen it, you've heard it, but we're still a ways away from it at this stage. And the aligned sell signal state that we're in has not gone away. So, we don't need to hope for it. We know that we are below that water line, 75.55. It's the very top of the nested volume points of control. We're coming down to the top lip of the balance area of our weekly pivot levels. And I think it's been perforated, or it's just been tested, right? Low has been 75.36, which is virtually the same number here. If it comes down below there, it opens up room down to 75.16 on the ES. And right now, after making that slightly lower low and not making significantly lower lows on the triple S indicator, you're getting closer and closer to a binary outcome. Whoosh, bigger drop, 15, 20 point drop on the ES, or a very harsh face ripping reversal that takes us back up, to the 50-ish area or higher, 50, 55. The 5-minute chart has been, Frank, you're absolutely right. There's lots to be said on that, but still nothing yet. It's a little too dangerous right now for me to try another short, but those who have held it, you're still in force to hold. We are coming down, making lower lows. I would just tighten up the stops and be ready for one of those types of bars or one of these types of moves in short order. Now, if it doesn't come, right, then there's going to be the waiter's remorse, right? So you have to either choose to be okay with that or not. Okay, 75.30. We've moved 5 points below the top lip of the balance area of our weekly pivot range on the primary market. It's opened up room down to 16 potentially, so there could be a drop here. You can see the very harsh reversal that's happened on that on this 1 minute bar. It's back tested falling resistance, not able to get up through that. At one point, there's going to be a reversal that will stick, and that's where shorts are going to have to go bye-bye. My guess is that that's going to happen before the end of the hour. And how to take a piece of it is the part that matters at this stage. So if I've got the triple S indicator on the NQ, the red line coming up above the dashed white line and moving from the bottom quadrant of this 4-quadrant channel to the second, we're probably in a counter trend bounce that sticks around. It's not there yet. And I can use that as a basis to try longs. What's everyone thinking right now? Let me know. 6, we're going to continue to go. And Thur Thakumar, I'm happy that it worked for you. That's great. If you think down, type in the number 6 in the chat. If you think up, type in the number 7 in the chat. And feel free to let me know, and I will let folks know when I consolidate the count. The responses are a lot more mixed this go around. There's a little more balance in the responses that are coming in into the chat. Let's see. I can see about a 55-45 split leaning to up. So that's a fairly dramatic change in terms of the communal voting on directional moves so far this morning. So at this stage, I think it's a waiting game, but the closer we get to the end of the hour, the better the chances are that if we're not dropping, the net short positioning the market is in from cash hour start in particular, a portion of that volume gets lopped off at 11. And you would imagine that a good chunk of it is short, and the opportunity to leverage a oversold bounce comes into play. I'm taking a very high risk entry on that premise. Very high risk entry. Rising into falling resistance. Very challenging moment to believe that this is going to be, great success. But I'm getting a turn in the speed lines coming off of an important low. And just now need to see the willingness for the NQ to really lift us up. If the NQ starts to submerge, let me just move back, submerge below the lows here, it's going to bust my ES trade. The ES is trying to actually gather itself and push us back up. It's in genuine state to do that. It's fast speed lines above the slow, right? There you go. Now, not very proud of the trade, but it is working, and it should work more, but I'm going to be responsible and take profit along the ride. Like that. That's $100. See, the NQ is now catching up to it. Okay. Now, the next spot that becomes more responsible for longs is really above the top of the channel, the MSR channel. Now, can one try it on the way up to it? I just did. It worked, but it comes at a very high risk. It could have just imploded right back down on me. But I used 3 things. Right? The fact that the speed lines crossed over, the fact that the market's net short, we're coming closer to the end of the hour. We know strategies that are on the short side, if they're not seeing down, they're going to start running away. and we can get slingshot back up. Now, if one is still riding the longs right now from the place that I took it on, which was somewhere down and around here, there's still technical credibility for it, but we are now rising into the structure that it needs to surmount. So 75.42 and 29,290. So those would be the two important areas to get above. And we're headed in that direction. So I'm hopeful that folks were able to catch something there, and or have configured themselves at least to recognize that downside risk is starting to wax and wane away. Shorts are getting ready to cover, as you're saying, Min, or take profits. That's the idea, yeah. And now it's getting a little firmer. This is the area where it can, effectively reject and roll right back down. But if it, on the ES side and the NQ side, once you get above the center of the channel, there's a better than fair chance that it will continue. Right? It might not be direct and smooth, but once it surmounts that challenge line, which is now at what, 29,302 for the NQ, and it's sitting at 75.44, 43 for the ES. Above there, I might try longs again. But right now, no. Right? Just basic risk management rule would say we have not made a higher high yet, and we still have made lower highs and lower lows. Right? So we're still in a pervasive downtrend. The indications are trying to get off the mat. Remember, I said I want to see the triple S line get from quadrant 1 to quadrant 2 of this 4-quadrant channel. It's done that. It's even back tested and it's held so far. The ES, not as much, right? It was above it for one minute bar close, and it's not back down below it. So no longs yet for me. No longs again yet for me. I'd much rather, be flat, wait for the market to be the guinea pig, get me into the upper half of the 1-minute charts MSR for the ES, something above 43.5, something above 29,300 on the NQ, and then take a stab at it, assuming the market gives that to us. You can, we have to see what's there. The setup that I'm describing is a tactical entry for a long on the basis of the market being net short and closing some of its bearish positions into the end of the hour, 75.43, 75.45 or higher, 29,300, 29,325 would be the relevant lines for long above on the ES and the NQ respectively. And Saad, I agree. This is a process of attempting to base, right? So we still have lower highs, inclusive of the last one, which is now starting to look like a high. It's not there yet. The change in the indication is, instead of double red dots, I've got single blue dots, which means the sell signal is actually mathematically cooling off. All right, we still have not made a higher high versus the local high at right back here at around 48. And that was around 10:32, 10:31 a.m. But here we grow, and the NASDAQ's actually doing a fairly decent job of trying to get in through. So I'm starting to look at the long above 75.43 on the ES. I'm going to be watching the NQ like a hawk. $97 Sky, happy to hear that you recovered. That's amazing. I don't know if it's, is it Kippy? I don't know if it's going to be V-shaped, but I want to see if I can get me a piece of some of it through the center of the 1-minute charts MSR channel on the ES. Look, we came right to it. We actually perforated it by a tick, and it didn't hold. So No, this is not a grand slam trading setup. This is a very high risk trading setup as well. Trying to play a retrace back up on the condition of the location the market is in time before we close the Eurozone markets, and some strategies come off the table at 11. So I don't want to distract myself. I want to stay focused. I am interested in trying that long. I'm seeing both the ES and the NQ try to grab a hold of the lower half of their 3-line channel, the moving support and resistance channel, the MSR channel, which is the 3 lines here, 3 lines there. Okay, here we grow again. I'm in. It's the second attempt to breach the center of the channel. It could implode, so be very careful. I am being very careful. Trades modestly in the money. It's been in force for about 17 seconds. I could take profit right now, or I could try to wait to see if it can give me more. The NASDAQ is telling me I can wait a little bit. It's trying to get through the top of its MSR channel and blast. So I'm holding on. But again, I'm going to do the responsible thing and take profit on the ride up. I'm taking some profit. And NQ could blast off above 325. Could. Needs to get up there. ES needs to get above the top of the channel. And then I'm going to try the trade on the ES. Again, above 75.45. Jeff Flow, I have. It's not something that I use on a daily basis. No. All tools can become useful once you've got the rhythm with it and you've kind of figured out the setups and the patterns and the high probability setups, the lower ones. But hey, last trade was profitable. I responsibly took profit. Right? There would be none. I'd be in a loss situation right now if I didn't take that profit. Because it is still a trade that is struggling to become real. Look, into the end of the hour now, we should see more bearish positions cover and close. That doesn't mean it will happen. That would be the norm in this condition. And it can happen all at once, right? One big player does it, everyone else follows, and I'm going to join it above 45. Fingers on the trigger, buttons depressed. I'm in the trade. Minutes to go before the end of the hour. It's a high risk position that I'm in because of the nature of the move. We're trying to retrace back up. We come down below the speed lines, which would be around 43. The slow speed line's around 43 on the ES. I can't really sustain the position at that point. Right now I'm in it. It's profit positive. 20 seconds have passed. I just need to now see the normal thing that would happen here is more and more bearish positions should come off the tape, and that will force some mechanical buying and whoosh us up. It should be that slingshot that I think, David, you were talking about, or the thumb on the ant. I like that analogy. That's colorful. But at the same time, this risk is, it's a great, I'm working with what I've got. If I had to pick and choose, I would still be waiting for much, much cleaner pastures. My finger's on the trigger to get out in case this thing starts to implode. It's still working. The NQ's it's testing. It's approaching the champion trend sell zone trail line. Trades in the money. Let's see if we can get a good one out of this. But it is not something that I'm counting on. Now it was in the money 75 bucks. It's out of the money 75 bucks now. And the speed lines are being tested and breached, and there's no point. It can still whipsaw right back up, but I took the risk. I understood the risk that was there. The trade was profit positive. I didn't take profit. I was waiting for that covering moment, which can still happen, right? We've still got a couple of minutes to go. Really, if it's going to happen, it should be done before, by the clock striking 10:59, and it's taking way too long. So no. Now, for those who are going to try it or are in it still, are holding on, last line of defense on the ES is 41. Last line of defense on the NQ is 283. You submerge below those lines, it's not happening likely. Exactly, Harsh. So we can continue to game this, right? There can still be a fairly expansive pop that happens before 10:59, and it's usually at that 1 minute before 11 a.m. marker where if there was going to be a move done, it'll be done. Then whatever's happening after is a different move. And if it's going up, it could be on the basis of buyers actually coming in, not just bearish positions covering. So it's trying again. The NQ's on a mission. 45 seconds to go, and it's trying to pull the ES up. I think I want to try, but I already had my kick at the can. And look, saving the dry powder for better setups makes more sense. But this is a setup. We're trying to come up above the high that happened here. Very little time left before the end of the hour, so be very careful. I'm giving it another shot. I want to see if we can get a nice little show into the end of the hour here. And it could be, a very negative show. So be very careful. The NQ came up, tested, backed off. ES tested, it's backing off. It goes below the center of the MSR channel, which it's threatening to. I got to get out of the way. Right now, I'm still in it, begrudgingly. NQ is trying to push back up. ES is not having it just as of yet. ES is still holding the upper half of the channel, barely. NQ is trying to pull it up and slingshot it up through, and it continues to grind up. You can see that on the right-hand side of the screen, but the ES is not having it, and I'm losing my patience with this trade. NQ is still trying, right? I'm just going to back away for a second here. It's still trying. That's the last line of defense on the 1 minute chart. It's 325. And I'm not seeing it through it yet, but it is doing a decent job of trying to pull the ES up. And we are now almost at the change of the hour, which makes it risky, right? So probably better to close positions before the hour change. Now, I'm going to ride this out until I can no longer sustain it, which is almost now. Our change should be in, and let's see if we get the rip up. No, we're not. We're getting a rip down. Not interested in staying. So account's still alive, but I need to still thrive to pick that couple hundy back up, and I will. It just won't be on the long side right now. So challenging. For those who stayed in shorts, kudos to you. For those who are trying to game the long, we've got a reversal back down with technically lower high, same high. Are we going to actually follow through to the downside? Now, there may be some more great trading opportunities that present if the market decides to heal and the NQ wants to pop that 325 top. So that would be the area that I would consider again for longs. Now, even if we get above it, we're still rising into falling resistance on the 5-minute time frame. But one of the things that has happened here, if you look at the Champion Trend Pack Toolkit, is we've ended the sell sequence officially. It can resume right where it's at. But typically what we do is test the last, the second last, third last breakout forecaster, very commonly tested on that 5-minute time frame before it resumes the sequence. We've tested the last and the second last. We've had an absence of breakout forecasters. We have a positive speed line cross, which is really the end of that sell sequence. So another sequence can start. Typically, what I'm saying is typically on the 5-minute chart, we'll go back and test the last three. And then there's, fairly good odds that we're going to resume. If we are coming back down, we'll resume the sequence. On a 1-minute chart, we obviously are in a state where a transition is happening. We've come off the low. We're trying to consolidate its support and gather our bearings to launch higher. On the 5-minute chart, we've simply ended one sell sequence, and we may be able to resume another sell sequence. It will require, I think, a little pop-up that fails if it's going to resume the sell sequence, and it will take us somewhere between 325 and 350. Now, if we get above the 350 marker, there's a better than fair chance that we can make a move up into the 5-minute charts channel, and we could see something in and around 450 present. So above 350, there's a lot more game. Right now, the setup is get us into that 300 to 325 to 350 area, test it and observe. If it does not materially get above 350, back to the selling sequence again, and we'll have another round down. I doubt that that's going to be the case, but stranger things have happened. So at this stage, we're going to take a quick, tiny little break and get folks, able to get themselves refreshed. I'm going to come back. We'll review the market structure, review where we are. We'll look for trades, and of course, we'll have some time for Q&A as well. And I agree with you, Frank. Trading in the channel is not great odds, right? When you're stuck in the channel, there can be lots of chop and slop. If we're coming out above the top of the channel or below the bottom, yeah, the consideration below the bottom right now is, have we actually back tested enough of the resistive structures on the ES and the NQ to qualify it as a resumption? I don't think we have. That's why I'm still of the opinion that we are likely to go back up, and we're probably going to see the last high here around 46, 47 taken out. So at this stage, I will simply leave a little banner up on the screen, and we'll take a little break. We can take a little break, not too long. How much time do folks want? Now, 3-4 minutes sound about right? Let me know. And we can take a little pause and then come right back. I'll try not to crash the PC. All right, 5 minutes. Let's do a 5-minute pause, folks. So we'll be back at 11:10 ish. So I'll just put that banner up on the screen here, and I might be back a little before that. Let's call it 11:09. Okay. So we'll take a little pause, and we'll come right back with more trade identification, market structure, market setup, market outlook, and answering questions as they may come in. I am kind of watching right now to see if the breakout happens here, but we might be waiting for a while. So I'll just take the break. So let's take the break. Back here very shortly, folks. All right, folks, I am back here with you as promised. Hope the break was sufficient. NQ is coming into that 325 to 350 area. It's trying to pull the ES up. Can it be tradable on the long side? Potentially here. Above 350, it's a little cleaner. For those who are attempting longs at this stage, be very careful. We have not yet met the criteria for a turn in direction that can sustain. So let's go back and let me know, if you're all good and AV's coming in all good. Just type in a letter Y or something like that in the chat. Just want to make sure that we're all up and running and good. Number one. Number two, let's get, okay, looks good. All right, perfect. Okay. So let's get right now into our next little moment. Good to go. All right. Okay. So what I want to really do is manicure the moment, which can be a moment where we end up seeing a reversal that can sustain. I want to be very careful about entries on that reversal. If I want to take one, and I would like to take one, I'd like to see the NQ above 350. We know that above 350, it's busting above the third last breakout forecaster, and that then can turn into something that gets sucked up into falling resistance in the 425 to 450 area, which can be a trade in and of itself, or it can help a long side trade work out on the ES. Now, we have not met the criteria. I gave you advanced information that, hey, if we come into this area, 325 to 350, it's a testing zone. Watch it carefully. We get above the 350 marker on the NQ, which we're rising up to right now, it can open the door for a long side trade on the NQ that could be upwards of 100 points. And it can take the ES above the 45 marker to the mid 50s, low to mid 50s. So I'm working that angle right now. I'm waiting patiently to see if the NQ can actually bust the 350 marker. And if it can, it should take the ES above 45, and that's where I'll try a long. And the distance to the resistive structure that we're coming up to then is in the mid to lower 750s. It would be in the mid to lower 750s. So let's see what happens. And this is why having the advanced information of where the levels are becomes very important, because it can just fall apart. It didn't meet the criteria, didn't take the trade. We got up to what, 342, 343? That was it. Now we're starting to make another stand, and the NQ is doing a better job at the recovery. Right? So it might be the better long, to be quite frank. I just don't know if I'll be able to sustain it long enough in terms of being in the position. I'll play around with MNQ later today because I haven't traded that very frequently. And if I'm comfortable with it, it should be fine. I'll probably be able to switch to that, and we can have longer duration trades on the NQ tomorrow. And Kunthia, that's a great question. You know, which tool in the champion trend pack? It would be getting into a buy signal state like we're in right now, right? So the champion trend and the champion cross have to be in play on at least one closed bar. I've got also the triple S, you know, 3 triangles left with an up. I'd like to see the double green dots underneath the bar. Those two together, very powerful. Up, up, and away we can go. They're not there yet, right? This is still feeling it out. And if it feels it out and it's successful, amazing. Now, what I want to do, and exactly, Jimmy, that's the way to do it, right? The MNQ in this environment might be better. I've been saying that for a week. I haven't switched to it, and I think I will try switching to it. But right now, you know, I've given you the information in terms of where I'd want to take the long on the ES. It would be above 45. We're not there. I'm not taking the long. The NQ is trying to struggle bust its way back up. What I'm going to do right now is just review the market structure with everyone, and the floor is open for questions. If there's questions, I'll do my best to try and answer them. Okay. Okay, so the primary market that you have on screen that you're looking at right now is the S&P E-minis. It's sitting below the waterline at 75.55. It's dipped back down into the coil, but it's now holding at the top border of the coil. Question mark at the end of the day is whether or not we can get above 55 and keep the long alive to head up towards the all-time highs. Okay. Or is the NASDAQ going to poison pill the move and drag us down? The NASDAQ's below the bottom of its coil. Right, we've got a nasty down that's been below the bottom of the coil for long enough to support the idea that it's broken and that we have the next move being an unravel towards the pivot level lows over the course of the next a day or two. How it closes is going to matter. The harsh reality is unless we are able to regain support of 29,820, there's very little in the way of any words or any other math that folks can put at the market to say we're going to repair things and go back up to the top of the coil and break out. So it's not looking good for that. The signals are aligned to the downside on the NQ. From a daily time frame down to pretty much a 5-minute time frame at this stage. The very recent attempt for the NQ to get off the ground and give us a reversal failed. I didn't take the long. You saw that. The ES actually dragged the NQ down. The NQ was trying to fight to hold up. In any case, back to selling. It's gone. NQ is losing some of the support structures at this stage, and the big message is exactly what I've said: 29,820 or bust. If we can't get back above there, it's very unlikely that we're going to see a recovery directly in the next future session. Now that's 500 points that we'd have to rise from where we are right now. That's a tall order. Is the ES in a spot to help? It is. Okay, it's just not helping right now. It is still in a spot where it can help. It's above the, in the balance area of its weekly pivot range, but it's below a water line, which grows the risks to the downside. So net, not a great market. Just put your finger on and say reversal up and all is going to be well. No. If we're in a spot where the NASDAQ comes down towards the low that it's already made in the lower 29,200s, it's going to drag the ES down, and it's game over if the ES is back below the purple line over here, 75.16. We're coming down to the bottom of the coil again, and it's just a bad news situation for those who are looking at longs. Now, that's the insight that I can give you at this stage. I think longs can sustain if we're above 75.45 on the ES. We'd need to be above 29,350 directly from here on the NQ to help support that. If that condition presents, long side trades might become a thing. If we are going to see the NQ come down below 275, there is good rhyme and reason for shorts and for the ES to be dragged down by the NQ to the lows or lower. Okay. And it's up to the discretion of the individual trader to try it or not. Now, the next part over here is me just checking out whether or not folks want to have anything in particular analyzed or an outlook presented in a particular area of the market. This is your time to do so if you want to. Otherwise, I'm going to be hunting for trades and trying to keep my eye on the chat at the same time. So, Jimmy, is that a request of a symbol, BYAH? Let me know. Okay, we can take a look at it. Just waiting for a second over here to see if I can get a short trade off if the NASDAQ breaks down below 275. If it holds it, it's going to be a little while before I'm going to be willing to take on longs because it has to recover, bring the ES back up into the channel, get above the top of the channel on the NQ side. So I'll give it another minute or so here at most while I'm hunting for it. And if it doesn't materialize, we can move in and take a look at that symbol. On a 1-minute chart, the champion trend indicator is in a buy zone on the NQ, Kuntia. Okay, the champion cross has now converted to a red, and it's got the red dot at the bottom. So if I'm looking for a short, I'm looking for a breach of the champion trend buy zone trail line, which is around 275, and I could trade it short, the NQ short right there, on a breach of it, which I'm considering doing, or I could take the ES as a short. I'm just watching the interplay and looking for an opportunity that I'm comfortable with. Lots are going to look at this as, hey, we're in a sideways range now, right, because of the last high. But we haven't really come down to the bottom of the range, and this trade would be to take me down towards the 30 area or lower, 75.30 or lower. And the NQ is dancing right at the line, but it is not broken. And we can take a look at GC as well, Simon. Absolutely. Okay, it doesn't want to break. Okay, so we can still watch for it, but let me just tee up some analytics on the couple of requests that I've got coming in. So Jimmy, yours was BYHA, so I'll just get that teed up on another screen here. BYAH, my apologies. Okay. It's a biotech play, it seems. It looks like it's a penny stock. I don't think I'm going to be much use in analytics on a penny play. It's become a penny stock after a massive drop. So I don't think that I'm, the analytics that I do require things to be a little more robust than this issue is. It's, sub $1. So I have to take a pass on analyzing it because it's going to send a mixed message, right? The analytics on plays like these is really what's the news, right? It's news based that ends up and sector rub off, meaning if things that are correlated to it, suppliers, other things in the industry similar to it are doing well, it can do well. But it's a very challenging piece of analysis, so I'm not gonna. I'll bring it up on screen. I'm guessing this is the one. It's a 79 penny play, and nothing that I can say over here is going to be is going to come with a confidence interval on technicals that's even close to 95%. So no, you can make the argument that somewhere above $1.20, $1.17, there may be more life in this, and obviously that's a universe of rise up to that number itself with this low sub dollar play. So I got to leave it alone. Okay, I got to leave it alone. Let's move on to the next one. The next one will be Simon had a request on taking a look at gold. And by the way, before we go there, no breakdown yet, right? No breakdown. It held the champion trend buy zone trail line. It's trying to come back up and trying to pull the ES back up into the channel. We still have the channel sloping down. We're still below the channels. As Frank was saying earlier, 50-50 odds within the channel. I like the upper half of the channel if we've got a cleaner market day. We don't. So it has to be above the top of the channel. And I know I've got a line at 42. Yeah, top of the channel. I've got a line at 45. So both of those would be challenge lines that I'd need to get above in order to play long. And that needs to be, in my opinion, coincident with the NQ taking us there and getting above the top of its channel. And potentially back to the local high at around the 350, 360 area. So no dice for long at this stage. Let's go take a look at GC together while we've got some time together here before the end of our market morning. It is 11:24 roughly. So we got a few more minutes together. And gold. Okay, so gold is in a downtrend channel. We're aware the downtrend has not come undone. It is still in play. And it's not until volume point of control at 42.31 is breached that one would want to trust the liftoff that we've had. We could simply be coming into the upper half of the downtrend channel, getting ready to fail. And one of the thoughts that you'd want to have here behind this is, look, if you've got a market that it turns risk on and the ES stays above the top of the coil and it pulls the NQ up, you would expect that to come with a weakening dollar and shinier prices for precious metals. We don't have that right now. If it transitions to that and you see gold make a run for 42.31, that is its own trade, short term, probably intraday, hours, maybe overnight. Above 42.31, it starts to get going. And the opportunity to make a rise to the next node of resistance, which is in the 43.60s, 43.70s, is the likely outcome. Anything below the bottom lip of the mattress here, which is the center two lines of the weekly pivot range, so anything below 41.17, I would want to back away from. Not necessarily short, but I'd want to reduce any of the exposure accumulated in this process down over here. So there's my insight. And Kurt, in terms of flight paths that we're on, I'm going to have to still wait to see a little bit more behavior on the day. We started off the day in flight path B, started off the week in flight path B. Can we sustain flight path B and actually get that lift up? The NASDAQ has kind of rejected that from happening. I'm going to wait, because we're still in a live day. We're not that far away from the 75.45 line in the sand for the week, 75.55 volume point of control line either. Now, 20 points below there, 10 points below our line in the sand for the week. Not quite enough yet for me to give up on the idea that this oversold market attempts an oversold bounce, okay, and we end up seeing, something that's more dramatic to the upside. It might be short-lived, okay? But we did get hammered down today. The NASDAQ got hammered down. It dragged the S&P lower. It took us into dangerous territory. We're still in that dangerous territory. So as we come to the end of our session over here, and actually that's a pretty good question. SA asks, I don't see any bad news. There is a little geopolitical risk, and oil did pop up. Jean-Paul mentioned that a little earlier in the morning. That is correct, and it did add some downside risk. What we're dealing with is the malaise in mega cap tech and high beta names. All right, so your XLKs of the world, your SPHBs, these are ETFs. They're getting crushed. But I don't think that we're in a market that has said, it's crash time. That's not there yet. We don't have the markers for that. The derivatives market as well does not support, it being crash time for this market. The harsh reality on the surface of price action is this is bad, right? When you've got a breakdown of the coil, that is not good news, right? That opens up risk for it to just unravel. We're in the live day, okay? And you heard me say it before, if the NQ is able to get back up into the coil, it's still not quite good enough. It would need to get back above 820, 29,820 to tell me that something better is in store. And there you have it, folks. I hope folks are doing well. Howard, that's amazing. I'm happy to hear that for you, my friend. Great work. That's a nice hefty gain. To everyone listening in, I hope that you had a decent morning. Hope the accounts are still alive. I hope that you were able to get something out of it, whether it's learning, earning, or both. And I look forward to, of course, doing this again with you tomorrow morning, starting at 9:15 in the morning. All right, folks. I wish you all the best in the rest of your trading day today. Keep your mind open for a market that goes into oversold bounce mode, right? It's been trying to tell us that for a long time. It's been trying to tell us that since about 10:40, 10:45 a.m. Eastern time. It's struggled to really make it a reality. We have not come down and made lower lows versus the lows in the 10 a.m. hour. Okay? If we do make lower lows below 34 imminently on the ES, we're probably going to come down and make lower lows for the day. Watch the NASDAQ to be the release valve, right? And you've got your line right there. It's around 275. It breaches 275. It's going to come down towards its lows and drag the S&P down with it. Otherwise, we could be in a nice little oversold bounce market that would initially project the ES up to 45 and then up towards the 55 area. It would project the NQ up to 450 overall, okay, in stages, but to 450 overall, and then another move would be in force. All right. Looks like, hey, that's great. Happy to hear that. Amazing. Okay, folks, wishing you a wonderful rest of your trading day. Be good to yourselves. Make sure that you give yourself time to digest what's happening and why, and use your tools, follow your rules, and we'll see you on the flip side. Have an incredible rest of your day, folks. Bye for now, everyone.